Somebody's got their speaker on. Thank you. Important announcement. Students, please check your Escoffier email each day for important updates. This is an only email we will use to communicate, to inform you of anything or any changes, please. If you cannot log into your account, contact Zendesk 877. I think I've got something that just came up. Kimberly, you're right. Is that 224-8576? If you can't get on your Escoffier email, please make sure. The last day of this block is May 15th. And it's an in-service day for us. Friday, on Monday, the 25th is Memorial Day weekend. Summer break is 29th to the 3rd of July. I think we've had enough of summer breaks. Have you all agree with me? Can you raise your hand to understand that, to have fun? And then it goes on to September, October, November, and Christmas of December. A memorable year this year, guys, to adapt and make it work. So a lot of fun. Protect yourselves from the virus. Wash your hands, cover your mouth and nose and elbows or tissue when you cough or sneeze. Avoiding touching your eyes, nose, and mouth if your hands are not clean. Remember, avoid contact with anyone who is sick. Clean surfaces as often as possible. Stay home from work, school, public areas. If you are sick, check your doctor if you have a fever, cough, or difficulty breathing, and tell them where you've been recently. Worldwide organization is trying to tell us that. During class time, please wear your uniform jacket or a white t-shirt. Those are the two things we require. White t-shirt or your jacket if not available. No piercings or hats. We don't have Trent. He loves to wear his hat. I did get in touch with him, Chef Cliff. Career Services and Derek helps you with your career services with things that when you get your resume together. Jamel Hopper. So make sure that we get with them to finish it off. If you want Chef Cliff, I think he's got majority of the resumes. If not, make sure you get it to him, making sure that you are sellable. That's what your resume is, interpreting what you can make it work for the place that you've applied for. Remember, try to pick things that you want to do, what you like to do, instead of you think you're being forced to do. And I don't want that. I want you to enjoy what you pick to do. Each week we have made it through the virus, although there is no return. No returns to business as usual in Austin, especially in Austin, Texas. May Steve Adler in the local news, rest assured we have a long road ahead of us. So being Mentor Jobs Board like Poach and Culinary Agents, we encourage you to do the same. So it's a very difficult time for our chefs and for restaurant employees. It's a pretty sad situation, but I think that the world is finding out that we are really the strong, but besides the doctors and nurses, guys, they are just the top of everything. But we are the ones that people want to go out to and eat, and we are the strongholders of the world and the town of making people want to come and get something, well, to give food to make people happy. Money is the issue again, because if you don't work, you don't have money and you can't go out to eat. And so supporting your family, and they'll find out that really the staff that work at restaurants, don't take them for granted, because they are really, really the foundation of the nation, one of the foundations of the nation, besides the cops and the doctors and the nurses, and the firemen. You know, you got to think about people that go out of their way to make things work. Disney, June 9th and 10th. The Disney program recruits. Formats change due to the virus. So there may be sessions in May. Zoom will provide you a simple interview questions, Disney images, and more. I think Disney, if I'm not mistaken, is already, Disney World is closed, right? Isn't that right, Chef?
Yes, it is.
On both continents, meaning California or Florida. If you're interested in reserving a spot, please email and Derek and Jamel to make it possible for you to work at Disney. A great team. Line cooks, Pluckers is looking for people. Line cooks, curbside delivery. Even when these uncertain times, Pluckers is still hiring. Join one of their private growing companies in Central Texas. Services, busboys, host bussers, and prep cooks. Join the team and the curb and delivery drivers. So Pluckers is really looking for people. People go for things that are easy to eat. And people love chicken wings and they love different things at Pluckers. I don't think I've ever been there, but I've heard good things about it. So just for fun, waking up 30 seconds before our Zoom classes begin, it kind of makes it a different picture. Hopefully we don't look like that. Courage doesn't mean you don't get afraid. Courage means you don't let your fear stop you. It's very true. Conquer anything and make everything work. So, okay. The quiz, the trivia. How many hearts does an octopus have? 1, 3, 5, and 8. Who's the first one to answer? Please, somebody answer.
I think it's 3.
3?
It's 3. I want to say 3.
3. 3. 2 hearts pumps blood through the gills, and the third to set the rest of the body. Wow. Also, the color of their blood is blue. Did we learn something today? Yep. But thank you, Chef Cliff. $18. Yeah. Okay. So yours is a little bit different than mine. So I'm going to go with yours, Chef Cliff. Okay.
Are we
Chef
ready?
Cliff. Yeah. Is your day 18 a lot different than, I guess mine is different than yours? Labor cost. Ideal labor.
All right, hold on.
That's fine. That's fine. It's the same as mine.
This is the same?
Pardon?
Is this the same?
Okay. So label, go back. Back up. Yeah. Next one.
That's the person.
Yeah. So ideally, labor will typically make up a third of your cost. However, it is easy to let labor costs get out of hand, especially if you never managed a company workforce before. The lesson is about understanding labor cost. How important is labor cost? Really is understanding what, at the end of the day, what works and what doesn't work. You can do the best food ever, but if you don't have things in line, exactly what I have. The size of your labor force depends on the number of factors. The larger your establishment, the more staff you need. You need more servers, cooks, bussers, bartenders to serve. 200 seats, then you would serve 50 people. What is your size or your level of your service? The financier or the establishment is, the more staff you need, counter service, restaurant, food trucks only need a few employees, some of whom might even prepare food and serve customers. Upscale dining requires a large staff, especially back of house cooks. Really. So chefs and several front of the house workers will serve guests and perform side work. What is it that we are looking for? A skill. A skilled cook can do more and be a worker than an unskilled cook. So you need fewer of them. However, they may be more expensive to train and require higher wages. So you should take this into account. Details of your establishment is very important. The size, the service, the cooking, the techniques that is used to make it work. Deciding on whether to hire fewer skilled cooks or more unskilled cooks. Which way do you want to lean towards? Are you a person that if you hire a skilled cook, you're going to pay more for that? But sometimes people, and I've met them, are more dominant on doing it their way. So if you're going to get a not seasoned cook and teach them your way, because that's the way you want to interpret it, is sometimes the way some people go, instead of hiring a skilled. For me, sometimes I love the skilled people, because then you have less worries to keep coming back to make sure that they are emphasized on the things that you need to teach them how to do. The more difficult items you have, the more specialized cook you need. A restaurant with a menu of more than 10 pages, such as Cheesecake Factory, would require a wider variety of cooks than a restaurant that sells only tacos. Service offered. If your restaurant offers catering, delivery, and so on, you need staff devoted to those services. Reducing labor cost. There are all ways to reduce labor costs without reducing the size of your staff. One way is to cross-train them. Very important in a restaurant, guys. Making the ability. If your bartenders can wait tables, you don't need many waiters on the bar. And if your waiters can tend bar, can go vice versa. So those are the things that you have to interpret and see what you need. You don't need many bartenders, so your sous chef is receiving a salary rather than going paid by the hour. And then you can work several of the stations. You don't necessarily need another cook working on that station. Don't overstaff. You should have enough employees on staff to fit the needs of your operation. At the same time, on the staff fits the needs of your operation at the same, and no more than that. Early on, you may have to overstaff since you are trying to get a sense of how many employees you really need at one time. Always, when you're beginning opening a company, guys, the first week, you're just trying to live through the first week. It's a difficult time. So you might be overstaffed the first week or two to understand how things flow, how things go. And then also, guys, remember, you're after you open the week before that you open, hopefully you've trained your staff to do what they're supposed to do. But in reality, you don't know how they do till it opens. Because that's when you find out the way the front of the house works or the way the back of the house works. How their reaction is when people are coming in the door. How fast the tickets are going. How long, in essence, even though you've had time to practice before you open and follow the recipes, this is reality. And sometimes reality is a little bit different than practicing to get it done. You all understand that? It's a little bit different to go get it. Kendricks, it's good to see you. So, really the reality of starting and coming back. Once you have an idea about what you need for employees, you will understand. Try not to go over the number. Don't be afraid to send staff home early or slow shifts. But then again, if you've got your stuff together, it is pretty difficult, guys, when somebody's taken. Now I'm talking about the other aspect of it because I've been in hotels and restaurants. Back up, Chevy. Is to send people home. It's really difficult because they've taken an hour of their time, some of them, that were the places that I've worked, to get to work. And then you're going to tell them after they've driven that 45 minutes to an hour to get there that they can go home. So for me, it's a pretty difficult situation. So you as a leader and you as a boss really needs to understand that you don't do that too often. Because they're going to quit and go on somewhere else. Would you quit and go somewhere else? I would. Because if I'm trying to make money and earn a living, you can't afford to do that often. So I hope the manager has good leadership to understand to do that, or they will take turns letting somebody go home. You really have to be a very fair person and balance it out. And think about them too as individuals to make it work. Anybody ever been, meaning gone to work and they've told you to go home after if they're not busy, or are you putting your hand up and saying, I'll go home, I'll go home? Which way? Tell me. Marcus, tell me.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. I don't know, during especially summer times when business starts to be slowing in Arizona, people start to leave that state because it gets really hot. You start seeing a lot of decrease in the volume of the foot traffic in your restaurant. Sometimes you really got to take that hit. Just be like, chef, I'll go. Or be like, chef, I mean, he's been here, hours are short. And just make those trades. You got to kind of compromise, work with your teammates, and make sure everybody gets as many hours as possible.
That's right. It's a very tough decision sometimes to let people go home, but you also need to consider and make sure that you've got your numbers correct, guys, to make it work for everybody. Got to be fair. It's not, hopefully it's not the same people going home all the time, because that's how you build a strong team, is to be respectful of each other, to make sure that who has our strengths and who doesn't, to understand. I said, don't be afraid to send people home, but then again, I'm going to tell you as leadership, you need to think. Try to rotate, or you send your home, or ask your volunteers to make sure that it's not the same employees, exactly what I just said. Finally, consider using prepared or pre-prepared portions, removing a step. How many times have you been in a restaurant that they have pre-portioned scoops of mashed potatoes and stuff that after they've made it and they just put it on the plate, warmed it up, or had it warm? Done that when you've catered for 500. If you had to scoop out everything for the fresh 500 or pipe it, how many times have you seen piped potatoes put on a sheet pan, 100 or 150 when you're in a hotel or any other things? Has any of you really worked in a hotel, or have you all just worked in a restaurant? Marcus, I know you have. Trent, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff.
You're here.
Yes, ma'am.
Look at my hands.
Thank you for showing up.
Ah, thank you. So anybody so you understand if you worked in a hotel, anybody else work in a hotel? Anybody, except Marcus. It's a totally different world from a hotel than it is in a restaurant. Don't you agree, Marcus?
Oh, absolutely. I was actually very surprised that that is the case.
Yeah, it is. It's a big difference to partake in that. Okay, finally consider the use of preparing and removing steps. From patron side, progress will save labor cost and allow you to hire less skilled workers. Although you should make sure that you're not spending more money on food costs than you're saving on labor. And then the quality of your food isn't suffering as a result of using prepared or pre-portioned ingredients. That's another thing. Quality of ingredients is number one. Just because you're portioning it out doesn't mean it's not quality to make it work. 5 ways to reduce labor cost. While business strives to increase revenue, in a complete market, the cost of labor continues to rise, understandably, to make it work. Labor continues to rise, and according to the recent survey of the US business and hourly workers, increasing profit margins was the top business challenge. Yet nearly half of the respondents said they didn't feel in control of their profit margin. So again, keeping records every day, we've already gone through a lot of that, keeping records of everyday inventory every day. And when you were doing your sheets that you did for me last week, loved them, it found out how important it was to be in control every day of where you are, instead of saying, God, I don't know where I'm at. I'll find out at the end of the week. Well, the end of the week ain't gonna work. Remember, it's your money that you're doing with. You need to know where you stand basically every day. Don't get it down. Remember what we talked about when you're first opening a restaurant. Is the first year your profit year? Hopefully that's what we are aiming for, but majority of the times it isn't. You've got to give it some time to make it work. You've got to pay attention to detail. If you don't keep looking at it week by week, what's going to happen? You're going to get sinker down in the hole. So you're going to have to understand where you are to rise it or lower it. I want to see everybody on the computer, guys. I need to see your faces today. We've got 22, which is phenomenal. But I need to see some faces. I don't care what your hair looks like. I don't know if you brushed your teeth or not. It's okay. Thank you. I need to see some place. Joe, are you there? Anthony, Ivan, let's go. Responders say they don't feel in control of their profits. When asked, what are your best tactics to controlling profit margins? A majority respond to the same answer, controlling labor cost. Some so what can businesses do to control over their profit margin? And criteria of their labor cost. Review and adjust. Wow. So look at your whole situation of where you are. Current. So periodically evaluating your company's salary, wages, and benefits can help you find several opportunities for cost regulations. Do you think, really looking at this picture, guys, do you think a lot of the owners take any money home for the first year? Shouldn't be in that budget at all. Or they might have a set salary, but it probably won't be as big as yours. But then if they have a backer, a person that believes in them and that is distributing the money to them, they might have a salary every week. Have you heard of that one? To make go by. But if you are hands-on and it's your business, majority of times you don't take much home at all. So the money that they're getting from profit is being turned back in to buying food for the next week. It's a sad situation, but hopefully you getting it all together make it work. Wages and profit can help you find several opportunities for cost reductions. First, review each of your roles with tools like Glassdoor or PayScale if you are paying employees above their market value. How many people, when they interview a person because they've been suggested by somebody to come in, he's worth it. I don't mind paying him the money because he is going to take care of what I don't need to have to worry about. You know, I'm going to tell you, word of mouth among chefs is a great thing. And people that you get, when you go looking for a job and somebody believes in you, it goes across town really fast. I promise you. If you're good at what you do, and people will hire you at a higher rate. I've had a lot of people from companies call me and say, what do you think, Chef Pavla? Can you send me somebody worth it? And I say, well, what is the going rate for them at your shop? And they'll say maybe 14. And I have an idea of all the shops around what they're paying. And I say, well, you know what? She'd be worth 15. Or he would be worth 15. I'm going on a limb. Not a problem for me. Because I've worked with that person and I understand they're worth it. So once you have a reputation and you express and show what you know, you'll be surprised how you can go up the ladder. People don't forget. Your leaders don't forget you if you're good. I promise you that. To make it work. So never leave a sour thing in their mouth, saying your name or whatever. Remember, I know we're talking about salaries, guys, but never quit a job and walk out. Never. If you don't like it, I don't care. Make sure there's a rapport between your boss and yourself. Never leave by not coming back in. Give them a day's notice if you need to. If you need to, really 2 weeks notice is preferable. But don't ever leave not showing up. It will follow you. Promise. And if you have a company, how would you like somebody leaving and then you've got a line out the door and you're the only one cooking? Remember, it's not I, it's we. So make sure you pay attention to detail. If you respect them, hopefully the chefs, I've met some chefs that don't respect other people. I've met them. Oh my gosh, have I? I don't even know how they got there. I call them prima donnas. You can laugh because there are a lot of them around. Hopefully, this will change their mind of what's going on to make sure that it doesn't happen. So then scale down your future hires by match the market. Next, you can create new programs or replace pay raises and merit based on revenue driving performance. You know, if your people know that you work with or you work for, if they know, and if you know a little bit about the business and you know they're having a hard time and you're going to go for a raise, it's pretty difficult. Be sympathetic. Not for a year, not for a year and a half, guys. I'm not saying that. I'm saying for the situation that they're in. They're trying to give you a job to make it work. So consider switching roles, commission, and pay structure, as many employees like the flexibility, income potential it brings. Initially charging a few rules, from full-time to contact a part-time under 30 hours a week. The only thing about under 30 hours a week, if you have no insurance, you're not eligible for vacation, sick time. If a person dedicates his time for your restaurant, he should be enabled, or he should be entitled, I shouldn't say enabled, entitled to some compensation for themselves. People do get sick. People do have emergencies and need to take a day off. It happens to all of us. We have life that goes on. We have things that happen that we need to be without somebody saying, you can't, you're working. Those are the things that you have to pay attention to. From full-time to contract to part-time, 30 hours a week. But a word of advice to those recommendations: be careful to ensure you are correctly classifying your employees to prevent lawsuits. You can also reach out to the health insurance broker and get lower cost bids for coverage, or reduce the cost of health insurance by choosing higher deductibilities. That's a game that we have to empower. If you're a pretty healthy person, in this criteria today, we don't know what healthy is anymore, to get sick, to make it work. Higher deductible, reduce over me and other pay overages. All business know that over 40 hours per week, you can add up and half the employees at regular hourly pay. Even more, if it's forecasted the wages of in the US, you are to grow by the average of 3.2% every year. How many of us get that 3.2% every year? Can't put all of us in that category. We're not complaining. We're glad we have a job. So you have to really look at the overall picture. This means if your hourly employee is earning $10 an hour, you will need to pay him $11.71 in 5 years. 17% increase. For one employee who works 30 hours a week, that's a $2,600 annual increase. To help reduce wages and overtime costs, you can consider using more of your part-time employees or hiring temporary workers. There are also stress profile tools that can help managers when employees are reaching the 40-hour mark. What is one of the key things that if you work together, remember, understand and be professional with each other. If your employee cares about the restaurant that they're in, do you think the employee will notify the chef to tell them, you know, guys, chef, I'm getting to be near 40 hours? Because you're keeping tabs more on your hours than the executive chef is with the 40 people that he's got working for him. You get what I'm saying? Be respectful. He won't forget it, I promise. It's not an easy thing to coordinate 40 people together. And time runs away when Friday night has been a disaster and 3 people didn't show up. And somebody had to pick it up and didn't realize how long he was there working to make it work. Gets out of hand really easy. So to help reduce wages and overtime cost, consider using part-time people, employees. This is also stress profile and can notify managers when employees are reaching 40 hours. Be respectful. Benchmark so the managers can structure schedules without overtime. A final note is you cannot exchange overtime for paid vacation unless a bill in the thing passes. Time left is hidden labor cost. Time theft is hidden labor cost when employees bill their employers they haven't actually worked. They haven't, and don't necessarily mean your employees are stealing from your company, as it can be inadvertent, such as late starts, early finishes, long breaks, rounding of the hours, and the buddy punching in, clocking in. Understanding that. How many people have you worked someplace and says, oh, don't worry, I'll clock you in? Doesn't work. If you go in with honesty, guys, you're going to receive it. If you go in with not being trustworthy, it'll catch up with you. Colleagues who are not there are studied by the American Society of Employers that 20% of every dollar earned in the United States company lost to employees. 20%. Using a simple and alien dance app will accurately track me working when your employees clock in and out, including breaks, and includes geo-tracking and photo facial recognition to eliminate early clocking in and the buddy system. These timesheets are then intensely scrutinized to your payroll provider to save on administration cost. The third thing is reduce labor costs by optimizing schedules. The restaurant and retail industry know this challenge too well. Either your business schedule too many employees during the hours that don't create enough sales, or they don't schedule enough staff to support it. Sometimes they do create enough staff, guys. But what happens? What is one of the biggest things when something is not going right in a restaurant? Anybody can tell me?
There's define not going right, because there's a lot of things that could be going on.
But he's done his sheets. What happens when there's not enough people and there's been scheduled for a lot of people to be there and there's not enough servers to accommodate the time that is on that sheet? Is it because people don't show up to work? Would that be one of the biggest reasons? Marcus?
I think so. If I'm hearing if I'm hearing the statement right, then yeah, because he's scheduled the people improperly by not having enough people on the schedule. It's poor scheduling that meant that people didn't show up.
That's right. So remember, then again, you have to pay attention to who comes to work. I know sometimes it's hard for me to express what I'm trying to say, but if you are scheduled to work, show up. If you're sick, I get it, stay home. But you need to notify your employer to make sure that they understand you're not there because you're sick, not because you got a hot date down the road. Got it? Did I make anybody smile, for God's sake? This morning, we need to be up a little bit, understanding, be respectful. There are employee schedule software available so you can provide labor forecast to help you with your schedules. Again, a little bit more of the cha-ching. Do you have time to take care of all of it? Remember, we have data for all the stuff that we have in the storeroom. Accountability, accounting of all the product that you have, what comes in, what goes out. Make sure that we have all the ingredients. And now we have software that tells you about payroll and scheduling. They're taking so much away from, well, they're trying to help the restaurant owner in some essence sometimes. But you've got to be on top of all of it to figure it out. Is that the direction you want to go? Or you need a person second in command to help you organize it? By executive sous chef.
Sorry, hold on.
It's all right, I got it. To make it work. Such as employees' accountability. How important is that? Very important. I hope you just don't hire a Joe down the road because he needs a job. But sometimes that Joe that you hired that needs a job will blow you away. You'll figure it out the first 2 days. Everybody needs a chance, but then again, the work has to get done, no matter if Joe down the street or somebody capable of doing the job.
Am I in the right area?
Let me see. Number 4. Reduce employee, that's 2. Go up, 4. Reduce employee turnover. It costs far more to lose an employee than to hire and retain a good employee to take the place to invest in keeping. Yep, you're in the right area. In minerals and general Z's are becoming the greatest segment of the hourly workforce. And this group ranks training and development as their #1 reason for staying with a job. People want to learn and people want to know what their job is. They don't want to be just thrown out there and said, this is it. This is my recipe. I'm giving it to you. Figure it out. You need to have people around to direct you and make you go to that direction of what you want. If somebody is a line cook and he's been there for about a year and the chef brings another employee next to him or tells him, can you just show him how we like to do it. We. Or the chef takes, majority of times, it's never the chef telling you and showing you what to do. How many of you noticed that? It's always the executive sous chef that is really on the line. Jonas, have you noticed that? If you line on the back of the line, is it always the executive sous chef that kind of trains you?
I wouldn't know, chef.
No? Anybody else work the front line? Go ahead, Marcus.
Depending on where you work, that is actually how it goes. I know in the restaurant that I worked at in Arizona, the executive chef actually did make it up the front line because of the operation that it was. It was country club, so I mean, it wasn't expansed or anything. Our kitchen was actually relatively small, but a lot of the times it would be him up there, mostly because of how it would be that we couldn't find anybody to fill that sous chef position. But most of the time when he was in the office area, it would actually be the quote unquote sous chef that was directing us in what it is that we should be cooking and what it is that was going on.
Yeah, because usually the chefs, majority of the time that I knew when I worked in the kitchen too, a lot of the chefs were always in meetings. Head chefs were in meetings from the head office to figure out what they got to get done.
Lots of meetings, that's for sure.
There are. It's mind-boggling, but there's always one in the kitchen that hopefully directs and makes it work. Anthony, it is good to see you because I haven't seen you in a while.
Yes, ma'am. I've been sick. I've been having a fever and throwing up and all that.
Are you
stuff.
okay?
I got tested. Yes, ma'am. I'm doing okay.
Okay, it didn't come back positive, did it?
No, it didn't. I came out just a bug, but I've just be careful because it has the symptoms of it and stuff, but
Correct.
pretty much the same thing. So
Okay, well, I hadn't seen you and I'm really happy. Andrew, you do need to send me the sheet on scheduling.
I sent it to Chef Greg because I didn't have your email, but I will.
Okay,
send you
I do want
that
to
sheet.
appreciate that very much.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, and I'm glad you're back and I'm glad you're feeling better. That's a key
Thank you,
thing. I appreciate that. I'm sorry I had to stop because when I saw that name, I said, I know that's on my list that I need to touch base on. Okay, being the largest segment of the hourly workforce, the group training and development, remember, is really important. Reasoning for staying with a job, be sure that to offer proper onboard training. People don't want to feel like they don't belong. From the minute that they come on board, they get excited because they've been accepted. They get excited because they're going to learn something. You think I'm just talking, I'm not. People strive or look to learn something. They want to learn. They don't want to be left in the cold. And let that follow through on the restaurant or the program that they've brought in. Reason for staying on the job, make sure you're proper on board, ongoing training advancement. Quality of food and quality of respectability to train somebody what to do. If you train that person, then this is going to help with your payroll because that person knows what to do. Business and roles to career path rather than a short term. For example, restaurants can provide career advancement, such as culinary training and sommelier. Remember the first day that we talked about when we came and met is the different jobs that can be offered with the Escoffier degree. Back up, Sheppy. So to understand, here we go, such as culinary training and sommelier, cross-training employees. Your employees' skill sets. While we do more with less people per shift. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it isn't. Make sure that you empower your employees to train the rest of your staff. You've seen that. We're gonna stop for a second. You've seen that when you're in the kitchen. Escapia's kitchen. And you're in your team that you're cooking. There's some students that can make anything happen and make it work. And there's always somebody that wants to learn. How many of you saw that? Raise your hand when you're in a team at the school. Understand that. Good leadership, not frustration. Teaching, making sure that they learn something also. Have any questions, you raise your hand and the chef will come over to you. Interpretation. More done with less people. Some places like that better. Empowering your employees to train the rest of your staff as a skilled outside trainer. How about bringing in somebody that is an expertise at what you're doing? How about people that make coffee? A lot of people love coffee service in their restaurant. At the end of dinner, they love a cup of coffee. Bringing in somebody in to train them what to do. What about your chef? Bringing in a person that owns a restaurant, successful, and he gives you an insight of how they run a restaurant and the overcome that he had to do to make it work. How about somebody coming in to talk to us about how a food truck runs? Yays and nays. They can't be all positive. There's some things that have to be worked out. Remember we talked about maybe 2 people in a food truck. Kind of alone. When you're alone like that, some people like to be alone, but you sure do need some backup service. Same thing on the front line, guys. Attributing to that. And if an employee quits unexpectedly, you have plenty of other employees, guys, with duplicate training. Won't have to spend money recruiting to replace that role. Sometimes that's sad to say, because I always love my employees to make sure that they understand they're a big important factor in a restaurant. Not a number, not a name on a shift on your timetable to come in. If you really care about your employees, if you like them or not, has nothing to do with it. Respectability. Because if they respect you, they'll be at work every day to do their job. The work opportunity tax credit and federal tax credit availability business will hire employees from eligible groups with certain barriers to employment. And there is no limit on the number of employees submitted. The tax credit enables individual to transfer from economic dependability to become a self-sufficient taxpayer. The maximum tax credit for participating business ranges from $1,200 to $9,600, depending on the employee hired. I don't know. Depending on the employee hired, as many hours they work and how many of them get paid. Eligible employees include unemployed veterans, temporary assistants, a needy family, receipts, food stamp recipients, and all different ways of making it work. It's always great to help the people around you. And remember, employees with benefit programs like dependent care and education on assistance as well of contributing to qualify employee requirements plan or a tax deduction. Everybody's looking for a tax deduction for me. So a little bit about scheduling, a little bit about making sure that people are trained to work, to own, to, how should I say this? People are trained to earn their living. When they're earning their living, they're making you a better place. Making sure that you have the key ingredients. Making sure you have the right employees. I know we're into scheduling, we're into dollar amount, but it all falls into one big category of making your restaurant, your endeavor work. Any of you go out to eat this weekend, this week, or this weekend, past weekend? Any of you? Nobody went out to eat? You have that much stuff in the refrigerator? Matthew, I know on the road you stopped and ate.
Coronavirus is out there to get us. Can't.
Is that you, Roro?
Yes, you got to take everything to go.
Well, of course, that's what I meant. Did anybody go out to eat, meaning go get the food and bring it home? I understand that's coronavirus. You can't say they went out to eat and sat in a restaurant. No. Did anybody go out and get some food?
We got pluckers.
Pluckers? Were they good?
Yes, ma'am. I always get the tenders instead
Do
of
you?
the wings. Yes, ma'am.
My husband likes the tenders too.
Yes.
Or so, but he likes that golden chick tenders the best, I think.
Golden
Everybody's,
chick rolls.
huh?
The golden chick rolls are good.
Are they?
Yes.
Anybody else go out to eat this weekend? I mean, when I say go out to eat, I don't mean it in that category, guys. Pick it up. No, did you all cook at home? Wow. Wow. Really interesting. But anybody else have anything? Nobody has anything to say? How do you feel when you work in a place? Have your bosses been, or your chefs been respectful to you? Any of you have a story? Anybody?
Well, there was actually this one place I almost worked at. If any of you happen to know, it's a restaurant. Well, it's a hotel restaurant in town. I forget the name of it actually. It's like Fox something or Fen something like that. And the place that I was working at, this guy's name was Carson. He was the Sioux executive. He was something up there, and he's a pretty intense guy. I didn't end up working there, not because of him, but because Fairmont had offered me a better offer. But if I had worked there, it would have been a very interesting experience just by the stars that I was doing and the way I saw him interact with the employees. I was like, this guy's not all right.
He was hard on him, wasn't he? Was he hard on him, Marcus?
He was hard on everybody, and not for much of a reason either. He was just kind of really intense for what he was doing, like what he was actually doing.
Anybody else have a boss that's really intense? Anybody? Nobody? You just loved your bosses and you're not there now?
Well, I had a situation, but we're not supposed to talk about it. So,
Okay. So you were not supposed to talk about it at the restaurant
no, like in general.
in general? Okay.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to talk about it because legal actions were taken and
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you're talking about. All right. It's still involved?
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty fair. I can understand that. Anybody else? Nobody? Everybody trying to wake up this morning to understand what we're doing? So how important is really cross-training somebody? It's vital. Not only for you as a leader, but for the workplace that you work at. It's really vital for making anything accomplish and make it work. Up, Sheffy. I'm on scheduling right there. We're going to be taking a few minute break. So we're going to stop right there, okay? So needing to understand what we're going to be doing. Understand how things really, if you're really a low-key person or doesn't say something. Jose, are you here today?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay. So if you have somebody like Jose that doesn't say 2 words, very
Chef, don't let
mellow.
him fool you.
Yeah.
He says more than 2 words. He can say more than 2
He
words.
said more than- well, guess what? I haven't heard any of it. Right, Jose? Do you let people just go over you?
No, I usually just, I'm just a listener most of the time.
Well, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to see your face if you can.
Yes.
Trent, I need to see your face, please. I don't mean to be a stickler, but I am. I think you all figured that out. Trent, where are you? Nigel, where are you? You're the only one that's not on the board. Can you come on? No? Trent, where are you? Okay, got 22 today, and I'm really happy to make it work. Raina, are you okay today? Yeah, you're doing good. I see it. To make it, who's a person that has not been on here today? Ivan, are you here? Oh, there you are. Finally saw you. So everybody just that worked in the kitchen has never had an issue with a lot of anybody else around, right? Anybody? James, have you worked in the kitchen? Yeah, you're working in a kitchen right now.
Yes, ma'am. Yep, I'm in a kitchen. Yeah, Parkside down on 6th Street.
I was there. I drove by Parkside yesterday.
It looks sad, doesn't it? Boarded up.
That whole street looks so sad.
It looks apocalyptic.
It's unbelievable how sad it looks.
Yeah, it's sad. It is. It really is.
It doesn't even look like Austin.
No, it doesn't. Not at all.
Yeah. Your bosses over there are pretty good though, aren't they?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. Like you were talking about chefs that were, hard to work for or stuff like that were hard on you. It's kind of the opposite there. He never yells. Chef Austin never yells, never raises his voice. Kind of goes with the flow. Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
And that makes life a lot easier.
It makes you want to go to work.
Yeah, and that's the thing is when he does get disappointed, he doesn't have to yell because it almost says even more when he gives you kind of that look.
Well, another thing too, though, guys, yourselves as a working chef or wanting to learn it, in the classroom, guys, it. I promise you. You know it when the chef looks at the plate and doesn't say a word. Basically before you give it to the chef, what his expectations are. Don't you agree with me on that aspect? You kind of have an idea of what you have done wrong. might not know how to get there. And that's what you're going to ask him to do. Do you all understand? But I think you all sense it. Do you understand that part of it? Nobody's saying a word. Okay. So Chef Cliff, what do you think of what we're talking about?
Hold on. There you go. Sorry, I was having a hard time. For talking about your bosses, how intense they are.
The reaction, yes, a reaction on how an executive chef should react on employees.
You know, first of all, I mean, executive chef should be kind of, you know, well, there's going to be ups and downs, but for sure, you know, if someone's gonna, I mean, they're gonna yell at you sometimes. They're gonna, you know, but executive chef should be a mentor. I mean, that's what I consider executive chef should be, as a mentor.
Totally agree. Because probably you picked that restaurant because of that chef to work. Hopefully it's not just to get another gig to go on.
Totally.
You know, because if that executive chef has that position, he should be a reason why he's at that position, because he's proved himself a little bit. But I've seen the executive chef and just shake my head to understand why he got there. But that's not my call. That is the owner's call of how the place is run. Okay, Love this 22. I want to see you all back. I want to see you on the screen, and I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you. About 15 minutes. So we're talking about 7:30. Thank you. Fifteen-minute break.
Hello, Chef.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. I was gonna ask if you received my email for the items that needed to be turned in today.
You know what? I'm going to tell you, somebody hacked my phone.
Oh man, that's
And I had to spend half a day yesterday. I think that the people saved some of my stuff that I haven't had a chance to look at. But I will pay attention to it. I'm sorry, but it was, I've never heard of the people that were all in my Gmail. That's how my Gmail was hacked.
Oh wow. Okay, no, it's fine, Chef. I'm just asking if you received
No,
it.
how was your weekend?
It was nice. I came to visit my sister.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Well, good. Well, good. I will look at it. I give you an answer to all of the stuff that I will give. Did you all get the answers back for the spreadsheets?
I don't think I've looked at it, Chef, but I will check just to let you know.
Okay, make sure you do. Roro, did you get the results on that spreadsheet?
No, ma'am, I was looking for it.
Well, you know what? I sent it back to Chef Cliff, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna probably redo it for all of you, because I've got the names down on what it is, and then I'll resend you what I had. So I will send them to you.
Chef, did you input your comments into our spreadsheet?
Yeah.
I put a comment on every one of them, yes.
Oh, okay, alrighty. That's what I'll be looking for. I thought it was in the portal. Okay.
No, it's not in the portal. It's on your,
My spreadsheet.
I still didn't get no comments.
No, I wrote a big one for you, Roro. I remember that one. Only kidding. But I will send it to you because I wrote them. You know what I did last week? You know, I'm learning, just like maybe you all know computers really great, but I don't. But
I know.
what I did was reply, and Chef Cliff sent them to me. So I replied to him instead of forwarding it to you. You get what I did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a mistake I made. So now I'll have to undo them, so, which is fine. I will do it again. So that way you can see the remarks I made on each item.
Okay, because I'm waiting on y'all's response before I move forward.
I know, I got it. But I sent back to Chef Cliff because I'm sure. So and now I will make sure that I re-emphasize it.
Okay, no rush,
All right.
Chef.
All right, no, there is a rush because we need to get it done.
Yes, ma'am.
Chef Baba, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I have a side sort of school stuff going on from my job called Ruby. And Ruby requires that some of their lessons actually have a sort of in-person portion of their online courses done. And I was wondering if I could actually, maybe after class some days, we get together still over this Zoom and I do a quick portion of that because I can't really get to anybody else and it requires an instructor to be visibly present and watching the demonstration that I'm supposed to be putting on for the course.
Okay, so what course are you taking?
It's a culinary course offered by the Fairmont Hotel that they do through Ruby. They give a free portion of it through their portals.
From their hotel that they interact with their employees.
Yes.
You know what? That's a fabulous idea.
Yeah, it's actually a really cool program. They give it to you for absolutely free, and you do the program, and you have more opportunity to move up through the hotel after you've done so. And it's very interactive. I thought it was really cool. And since we're stuck inside, I figured I may as well do it. But I kind of got caught in this caveat of you need to have somebody watching you. And now you can't really do that because there's nobody around because you're not really working. So it's like, I'm wondering if we can do it through Zoom. Maybe
sure, I'd love to. I'd love it.
I do have to
get a couple things. I might learn something from it. I'm only kidding. but you know what? Remember. So when you work for somebody, there's different interpretations on how each chef wants it done or each hotel wants it done. Is that true? So what you think is what you teach is the French way or the interpretation of the school, what they want. And you go to work and the guy says, what the hell are you doing? You don't know what you're talking about. I want you to do it this way. So it's their interpretation of doing something. So then you sit back and you go, now, wait a minute. But remember, the school is teaching a certain way of the French way that they are being told to teach, what we are told to teach. Doesn't mean that we're wrong, and the place that we're working at, which is off the wall a little bit, not off the wall, but maybe in a direction that they want to go in, and they're not wrong. And they're not right, and we're not wrong. Do you get what I'm saying? So everybody has a different way of interpreting a recipe to make it work.
Absolutely.
Good, Marcus. You've got a good head on your shoulders, sir.
Thank you, Chef.
I mean that.
I appreciate it. I really do.
I really, talking online is really a little different factor of getting to know a person, but I think the more I'm online, the more, and you don't meet that person, but you see the ability that they can do, really makes a really big impact on me. And I think I'm really liking it to the point that I don't want to know a lot. No, wait a minute. I don't want to know a lot about you as an individual, but I want to know what you know and what you want to learn. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Can't talk a lot of bullshit. When we're in class, you can talk a lot of bullshit and scam stuff, but when you're on a computer, it's a lot harder to do.
Yeah, a little less room for the vamping. You kind of have to get out the information that needs to be there right away.
That's right. Big difference. But I'm gonna meet you all after school when we get back into class one day. I promise you. I'll make sure I pay attention. Looking forward to it. So let me know when I need to be with you, and you let me know, and I'll be there.
Chef.
Okay. I don't see Loretta today.
Chef Pablo,
Hello?
I have a question.
Sure.
When is the final project due?
I think it's due on that day, isn't it, Chef? Or is it the day on Monday? The day before the last day?
I think
Chef
they just
Cliff? Chef Cliff?
Yes, Chef.
Joe wants to know when the project is due.
Like I would say at the end, the last week at some point, the last week of the class.
okay, and you will let us know which day it would be, right?
Go ahead, Chef.
Well, I think, don't you think if it's a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, we should probably get it by Monday so we can kind of talk about it for the Tuesday and Wednesday,
Yeah, yeah, the first Monday of the last week.
the last week.
Okay, thank you then.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go over 6, 12, and 16 that day on Monday. On the last day of the week is those three numbers that we are going 6, 12, and 16. And then I think probably on Monday. I'll look at it today when I look at what they are for on day 6 and see. But I think that at least a couple of days, so they need to understand what the project is all about instead of just turning it in without an aftermath of it. Okay. Everybody getting on? I need to see your faces, please. Thank you. Kendricks, you're not saying too much today. Tired? Are you all in the chat room? Oh, your mic doesn't work? Okay. All right, scheduling. That's what it's all about. Ivan, get on, please. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. You only have so many employees. So you should consider where each will be the most useful and make an effort to ensure that they end up there. If seeing employee schedules, you must want to avoid burnout. Burnout is where employees lose the enthusiasm for the job and either quit or become apathetic and unmotivated. You can avoid burnout by avoiding overscheduling. Burnout. To avoid overscheduling, try to give each employee 1 or 2 days off per week. They need a job. They don't need to be running the place. That's your job. It is strongly recommended using schedule software, especially if you are in charge of large operations. The more employees you have, the harder their schedules are to keep track. With scheduling software, you can easily schedule hours for your employees while working around whatever scheduling limitations they have, and ensuring that each employee has the same time off. There are a few things to keep in mind when scheduling. Keep at least 1 employee on call in case someone can't come in. If they're called in, they're paid as normal as they spend working. If they aren't called in, they're not paid. You don't have to pay an on-call employee for hours spent on call, but employees might feel imposing too much on their lives. Very true. Make sure that each shift has an employee with a clearly defined supervisory role and authoritative power. The staff needs to know there is someone there they can answer the questions that they're asking. Take a look back on motivation, employee productivity. The most important part of someplace working, guys, in a company's culture, encourage hard work and creativity thinking. Employees will work hard and think clearly. If the culture discourages employees from stepping out of line, they do exactly what required of them. You as a manager and a restaurant owner play an essential role in establishing culture, company culture, and maintaining employees' morale. You are expected to act as a coach, a motivator, and a leader. Employees are always willing to do their jobs, and they feel capable of doing them. So proper training and tools. Up, chef, up. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Right there. No, back up for you. Employees are more willing to do their jobs if they feel capable of doing so. So popular training and tool them result them in more productivity. In addition, people to be treated like people. Remember what I said, respectability. So they will be appreciated efforts to get to know them. You will always want to know them, that you can accommodate their schedules. Common employees, motivation includes recognition of what they do, achievement challenges, achievement, the work itself, shrinkage. Shrinkage is a term used for culinary industry that is a polite way of saying theft and fraud. The most common form of shrinking are giving free food and drinks to family members and friends, unauthorized eating or drinking on the job, unauthorized eating or drinking, unauthorized drinking and eating on the job, padding checks and keeping the difference. The simple way to cut down on shrinkage is to use a point of sale system and record all the orders. In that way, you can easily compare orders to changes in your inventory and note any discrepancy. Another method is to use duplicate checks for each order. Send in a copy to the kitchen, and then at the end of the meal period, compare the checks, number of checks that are in the front of the house and the back of the house. It also helps to give employees free meals, which should be recorded in the system, and offer discount to employees for friends and family. Make sure that your staff follows standardized recipes, keeping consistent inventory. And another way to curb shrinkage is everybody closely follows standardized recipes. Keep employees have less opportunities to help themselves to product in the walk-in and less likely to do so. Need to keep in tabs of the product that is available for that day, or maybe the day after, that we have it on hand. Employees differ in their personalities, that these differences influence the way they react to external and internal pressures that exist in many organizations. Most employees spend more than 50% of their working hours at the workplace, 50%. And you're a chef, believe it. And the workplace and environment, and the performance and mental work frame. It has been observed that this mental framework has a direct impact on their individual performance, will ultimately affect the organization as a whole. With that in mind, it is important to organization to identify the factors that are crippling effect on the performance of the employee. Get to know them, guys, individually. Get to know you individually. We, Chef Cliff and I, understand that. When you come on screen and we know where you are and how you and what you think of how you interpret something, or when I ask a question, what is your response? We know where you are. We've been there in our life. Following are the factors that lead to poor performance in employees at a workplace. Open yourself. Make sure that you can be one-on-one with somebody. Just because somebody talks to you doesn't mean the whole place needs to know. Inquiring minds don't need to know at all. Be a mentor. Don't be a boss. Personality or ego clashes. I got this, I know it. You don't have to tell me anything. Is a response. No, you don't know it because you're just the first day on the job. I don't want that ego to take over. This is in general seen between two people with opposing personalities. The problem creeps in when there is mistrust between the two parties with respect for their motives and their character. Stress. The modern workplace is full of demands, deadlines. They are employees who sustain and perform under pressure, while there are employees to raising pressure, thus aggressive environment. So, does stress make a big difference on a line? Does stress, some people get motivated by stress. Some people, you might as well just put them in a box or in a bag and zip it up. Which direction do you go? Some people can handle anything. Some people need to be taught to handle anything. The word is taught, respected, to overcome it. Really? Heavy loads. Is there an alarming increase in workload? Look at the stuff I've got to get done before I even get on the line. There is alarming increase in workloads. Employees sometimes become distorted, and their work at this reflects the quality of work. How much work are you giving them before you get on the line? Or do you think just showing up and working the line? No, you've got to prep for it. Too much pressure. If you do it gradually, as a mentor and a leader, if you do it gradually, it doesn't become that big a problem. It also takes a toll on health and demoralize them. I don't think anybody should be demoralized, because if you've taken the time to talk to that person as an individual and understanding its growing pains. We could say this week you get this done, this done, this done, and somebody else will do the rest, but next week you're going to pick up half of the other. Do it slowly to make it work. Inadequate resources. Adequate and material sources should be available to employees to enable them to perform their weekly work easier. Motivate them. Think outside the box to want them to come back and learn another step. And you know, sometimes your boss will say, well, I'm going to give you a week to learn this, and next week we will go and learn something more. But towards the end of the week, your staff or your employee comes to you and says, you know, chef, I think I've got that under control. Can you let me do some more? It's happened to me all the time. Is that a motivating part? Yeah. You go, yes. You feel pleased because they are motivated to work for you. You feel pleased because they want to be there to learn from you. We as individuals want that to go on until they get the performance down packed. With Kimberly in the front of the house, every day, give her another chore to learn. I don't want to come back from her to say, I know it, don't tell me. Enable her to make the decision what she needs to get done. That's not taking over. That's motivating her to think outside a little bit more. Remember, being a leader and a motivator is a key word in a restaurant. Poor leadership. Wow, I've met a few of them. Don't give credit where credit is due. It's about the I factor. Poor leadership from top management. A supervisor motivates his subordinates and instills confidence and evokes enthusiasm, excitement. But at the same supervisor encourage is aggressive, engages in aggressive and pungent behavior and results harassment at the workplace. Doesn't leave that person alone. I've seen it. One of the main reasons for that, guys, is when it's poor leadership, it's lack of role clarity. What is your job? Now, I don't want, I said that right now is what is your job, but I don't mean for you to use it to say, that's my job. Somebody asks you to do something, no, that's not my job. I don't want that phrase ever meant. But what is your responsibility? When you get hired, you have a sheet to tell you what you're responsible for. When that checklist is done, then you can go back for more. When that checklist is done, not before it's done. And then you could go back and say, chef, what can I do for you? So the lack role clarity, this happens when two different workers are given incompatible roles at the same. This lack of clarity in co-workers, sometimes you get that on the line. How many people have been on the line and say, well, that was supposed for me to do. And you've got two people doing the same thing. It happens all the time. Lack of accountability. Results. when there is no clarity among the employees regarding their roles and their responsibilities. Lack of clarity. So what happens then when you're giving two people the same job and but both trying to get it done? No clarity about employees regarding their roles and responsibilities and their relationship in the team. This leads to a situation when something goes right. Everyone would like to take credit for it. And when something goes wrong, nobody comes forward to accept the responsibility. Wow. How many of you have come across that one? Me as a leader, I always put my hand up and take the blunt of it all. If something went wrong, I'm not looking for anybody to say I did it. I'm responsible because I'm the leader. Sometimes that's not a good way of doing it. But sometimes the executive chef could be really nasty. So you in the leadership role should decide that. Lack of transparency. When employees are not informed about situations, they will make their own assumptions, which are spread and can spread rumors. This can hurt the image of an organization and also destroy the trust of the management in the management. Clash of values, cash. An organization compares employees from various walks of life. Remember, when you're hiring somebody, it might be somebody down the street that you've lived with or know in that vicinity. Somebody that's come in from another state, another area, another thought of how they were raised. What you think is the norm is not the norm for them. And then again, what you think is right might not be right for them. Wow. I thought everybody thought like I did. A different interpretation. An organization comprises of employees from various walks of life. They bring in their own values, ideas, and principles, which may not be received by everyone in the organization. We all feel that sometimes. Every one of us. You know all the chefs. You know their values. You know the people where you work. You know their values. They bring their own set of values, ideas, and principles. Do you like them? Do you agree with them? Some places you work, get off the pot and get accepted. Yes, chef, no chef. And then live your life the way you want to live it. Doesn't mean that the chef is wrong. Doesn't mean you're wrong. It's just depending on how you think that you want to live. But sometimes people want to tell you how to adjust your life and where to work. And you say, oh, no, I got it. When you're still looking for a job and don't want to listen to a mentor or a person that wants the best for you, to get it. Which may not be received by everyone in the organization. That might result in some animosity and intolerance. Happens every day. Gossip. Whoa. I don't like drama. I say it like it is. Gossip research has shown that the office work gossip creates great loss in the organization and also affects the individual productivity of the employee at work. I don't care if you're a female or a male or a drama queen, it doesn't make any difference to me. The drama queen meaning gossipers. The reality check of life. Keep it to yourself. You'll get far ahead of the game. Lacks and takes away from work. What about when you are in the kitchen, guys? You already know this. And you go to the chef and say, you know, chef, God bless, could you take me off that team? How many of you done that? How many? And come to the chef. I can't work with them. Or you'll say, you know what, chef, put me on that team. I want to know. I want to learn a lot more. It happens all the time. Back of the house, front of the house. People understands everything. People put people together because one of the team knows and direct and helps direct. Doesn't mean they take leadership. They're a team. Yes, chef, no chef. Understanding what it takes to make it work. Pair yourself up with people that you will learn from and ask to be paired with that person for leadership to make it work. When you can go home that day and say, oh my gosh, you know something? I made an omelet today. Not knowing that maybe you should know how to make that omelet, but you learned it how to make it the way they want it. Get excited about the food. Get motivated. And if somebody says, did you hear what happened to chef something? I don't want to know. First reaction should be, don't want to know. Our interest is in this restaurant. If you take that advice from me, guys, you're going to get and be a much happier person because there's gossip going around all the time about everything. Outdated technology. No, oh, sorry, chef. I need to go back to 11. Poor section and pairing of teams, employees with wrong partners prove to the overgrowth of the organization. A lion's share of their time will be considered jotting against each other without an improvement of the overall performance. If you put two people in there that try to outdo each other all the time instead of working together to make it work. Let them figure that out themselves. Sometimes an executive chef will put two opposites together to make it work. Sometimes on purpose. Overall technology. To make an employee product efficient, it is important to equip them with the right tools, ignoring potential benefits of technology. Lord, did we learn that this week or the last 4 weeks? Outdated technology. Chef Cliff and I are dealing with it every day. We have to equip ourselves to be in this class. You did too. Computers, monitors. I never realized that one of these were really important when you have 2 or 3 screens. The mouse. Who would have thought that? And then understanding the internet. All the factors that it takes to run something like we doing today. And then on top of it all, understanding what a restaurant, this really gives us a big awakening of running a business. Should be motivating us to make it work. To make it work, to do more things. It really gave us an input on technology. Do we pay for the upgrades? To me, making us successful. That's the whole goal of all of it. We're in this business to be successful, not to go to school just to get knowledge. What is our goals from the school? Is our goals to just get a degree and make each other happy? 12 chef. Or is it something to do with it? I think 90% of our people that come to school want to learn to be successful and find their venue to go to. Not always a restaurant, not always a hotel. Different aspects of what you can do. Working for, like we said, a truck, a food truck for one. Another one working for like a Cisco, specializing in food. With a degree that you have, anything is possible. Remember, there was 24 different items you could do. So cooking might not be your thing, but organization and being respectful of your partner and learning to have the technology to carry the job that you want working. Bullying and harassment at workplaces. Wow, I've seen it. You put a bud to it right away. When a person gets hired, you need to put some ground rules on anytime you work somewhere. If you don't get them on the first couple of days, you better sit down and tell them the rules of the place you are at. It's really important. Doesn't mean that you're a rude chef. Doesn't mean you're characterizing them. It doesn't mean you want a smooth kitchen or respectability. Really important. So there are cases where bosses or colleagues threaten to employee for no reason or pass obsessive remarks against an employee. I've seen an executive chef do it. I stepped in and went to the resource department. It's unheard of to demoralize a human person, a person coming to work for you. It's just a job. I'm not going to say it's just a job. It's a job for that person. He's there for a reason. He's not there to get bullied or looked down on. We as individuals never, if we are bullied or turned down on, we're not going to be working effectively. Hostile environment in the workplaces also deserves a sense of belonging among us. Think about it. Do you like to be talked down? Remember the gossip people, I don't want to hear it. And people really telling people what they don't want to hear either, which is very disrespectful. We take, as all of us individually, as people, human beings. There are cases and bosses, colleagues threaten to employees for no reason or passes offensive remarks. It also disturbs a sense of belonging among the employees. Perceived discrimination on employees can a negative effect on an organization bottom line. It hampers the main components of employees' behavior, which is directly associated with job responsibility and performance. This might also result in higher inconsistencies or grievances among the employees. Poor performance, wow, management. Badly constructed appraisals on creating a lot of problems for the organization as well as the employee. If a hardworking employee is underrated besides being unfair, it creates an inferiority complex in the mind of the employee. While being overrated may create not happy people around. Depending on the health conditions, a health issue for an employee with a greater hamper on the employee's ability to be productive is a cascading effect, such as rising enthusiasm or low morale and indifference to organizational goals. Thus, considering the above factor and the passing stringent amends the grievances that employees have in their workplace can reduce a great extent. Improve performance of workplace condition for a common cause with a refined enthusiasm. People gain enthusiasm with things getting accomplished, corrected, and fixed. So, in class product on labor assignment handout. Where are we going to take aways from today? So you have a due today a work that we did for class was the scheduling. Wasn't that? No, wasn't scheduling because we did the scheduling already. It was 3 assignments on the menus for today, right? A lot of you emailed me. Did you all do that? I saw. Jonas, I saw yours. Got it. Thank you. So what do we take away for production for what we did today? What was the criteria, guys, on really establishing pay, scheduling for employees. What was one of the main things that we learned today to understand what we're doing? Anybody have anything to say? Talk. Nothing from you, Roro? You're hiding behind that screen.
No, I'm not.
You're in between the screen.
I'm cooking, chef, for once in the morning.
Are you that hungry?
Yes, I
Why
usually
don't
don't eat in the morning.
Why don't you send me some? I'm going to put my thing there, and I want some.
Shrimp
What
and
are you
grits.
making?
Shrimp and
Huh?
grits. Shrimp and grits.
Are you making that?
Yes, ma'am.
At 8 a.m.?
Immediately.
I don't see any. I don't see anything here.
It's just a craving.
Is that a craving today?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh wow, that's great. That's great. So anyway, so what do we get? What do we take away from today? What were the initial things that we learned today a little bit about? What would be the first thing about?
I say labor.
Say that again.
Labor.
Labor.
Yeah, I was going to say something about that as well. A lot of the things that we touched on today, I actually kind of had already in consideration. It was just more of a refining of the information I already had, which is always good.
Sections of what it takes to make it work. And what about overall? What would you say the shifts, the sections, the pay, what each person is due? I'm not saying not due, because a lot of you chefs are fabulous, absolutely fabulous, very dedicated, want to be involved, want to work. I don't think, a lot of the times I've seen people that don't want to work. I've met them, a dime a dozen. But I've really met an awful lot. And, I heard a lot about this class before it started. I didn't want to tell you all that. For you to understand that you want to be here. And that's the most important factor. That's the number one thing, is to make sure that you want to be here and understand this business. That's the most important part. And then you striving to get there. Yes, this is like old news. This is restaurant ops. There's so many things that you already know about. But it's instilling some of that stuff that needs to be revisited all the time to understand the respectability of an executive chef and you with a correspondence of them. Not take it for granted. Making sure that they're all taken care of. There's 20 of you up there. I love it. I'm so proud. I really mean it. So proud. Respectability before you can even get paid. If you do what you're supposed to do and learn your job the way you're supposed to learn your job, you will get that 100% respectability and you will get that pay raise. I guarantee you. Because good leaders, good mentors are looking for people like you. Like you. And that's the important factor. We dream of people of you walking into the kitchen. That's an important factor. So I'm really enjoying it. Now, Andre, where are you? I love that picture. I mean, it doesn't show an awful lot about you, but I need you to show up. Woo.
No, I'm here, Chef. I'm here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know you're here, but I need to see your face.
Chef,
Is it rough?
I woke up like this. You heard me?
Huh?
I woke up like this.
Not like your picture that I see there. No.
Hold on. I got you. Give me a second. Let me put a shirt
Oh,
on.
yeah. Give me a second. Let me put a shirt on or something, right?
Show you the abs. You feel me?
Yeah, I know. I don't miss a trick. I think you already figured that out about me, right?
You said what?
I said, I don't miss a trick. So I want you on the screen. I know Gary can't be on the screen. Nigel, I don't know where you are. Mia. And Mia, where are you, pumpkin? There
Yeah.
you are. Sunshine.
Chef, I was up to like 1
That's
a.m.
not my problem.
I was, I'm tired. You feel me?
Okay, so what do you
got
want me to do? What do you want me to
No.
give
I'm
you?
not gonna lie. Today was a great class though. Like,
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure in between the naps. I got it. So do you want me to give you a 10 today?
you broke up a little bit.
I said, do you want me to give you a 10 today?
Of course.
Oh, of course. I know. Hey, Andre, I got you.
Hey, Callie.
I can't wait to meet you personally.
That's the best, Chef. We got some baking to do, right?
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a meal. Remember, we're gonna have a family meal together at the end of all of this.
It is what it is.
Yeah. How's your kids?
They good. They actually just woke up, so
Did they?
I gotta go tend to them.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm thinking of making like some French toast today with some. I don't even know. It's gonna come together really nice though.
Well, wait a minute, Andre. Did you go see Roro? She's making grits. She'll send
She
them
making
over to
grits?
you.
She might as well do a shrimp and grits type of thing. You
I
feel
think
me?
sharing is the right way to go, don't you?
Of course. Let's make the world go round. No.
Well, James over there, his wife hands him everything, so he doesn't have to worry about anything. See, I figured that out. Anybody else have somebody that serves them every day? Kendricks, how are you doing? Just lying there? I know you can. I can't hear you. I got it. But you're okay? Okay. How's your dog? Andre, stay on.
I'm on, Chef.
Okay. Ivan, are you all right today? Okay, so I'd really need somebody, Jose, why don't you tell me a little bit what today also brought you to learn?
Today it was kind of like a refresher for me. Some of the stuff I did know, but then there's other things I didn't know, which I learned.
Did it help a little bit?
Yes, they did. Gave me a little bit of understanding.
On the other side?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you doing something wrong. It means what the system works like to make it work. Anybody else? I like your hair, Roro.
Thank you, Chef. I never show it.
Huh?
It's long.
Yeah, but it looks tied back good.
Thank you.
Kimberly, you okay? Are you waking up, Pumpkin? You look so tired.
I'm awake. I'm just tired.
Just tired. Have you been working hard?
No,
No, just too much rest, huh?
not enough rest.
Hey, not enough. How
Wake
can you not
up.
have enough rest when you got nothing to do?
It's the fatigue is getting to us.
Wake up, girl.
We gotta make sure.
Yeah. Is it bored? Is boredism really? I mean, is bored? Are you being bored? A lot of you? Are you doing other things that you never thought you'd do? How about you, Callie? Are you doing things that you didn't want to do? Or are you doing things you want to do? Callie?
I'm sorry, what was the question? I was talking to the kids. They're distracted.
Okay. I said, are you doing things that you didn't think you were going to do, or are you doing more things that you want to do?
Like right now in general. I mean, In general, I'm not really doing much of anything. I don't think anybody.
Except crocheting. What
Yeah,
are
I
you gonna
do.
make? What are you gonna make me?
Oh, I make a ton of stuffed animals. I'll show you some tomorrow.
I'd love to see them.
I make a ton of stuffed animals. I'll show you. I'll get out a little bit early and I'll show you tomorrow.
Okay, I'd love it.
Yeah.
Robert, you doing good today?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Are you at home?
Yeah, I'm still at home.
Are you? Okay. Well, you stay. I bet you they're glad you're home.
Oh yeah, especially with the kids.
Oh, I'm sure. Chef Cliff and Anthony, really, I'm really, really happy that you're with us now. Are you feeling, are you getting a little bit more motivated to see what's going on?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
It's a
ma'am.
lot easier than the other way, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
A lot. So make sure you get that paper turned into me, please,
Okay, I will.
and get that done. I would really appreciate that. I can give that to Chef Cliff to him to post. He's been wonderful enough to do all the, trying to get all the people, all the attendance, and he takes care of a lot of things for me, more than I do. So I appreciate his help in doing that, taking care of that.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else have anything to say about today? Nope. Well, you are just a bunch of easy things. See, I wouldn't shut up because I keep talking. I wouldn't shut up. I'd be asking questions all the time. Nobody else? Matthew. Matthew got to his destination, okay, guys?
Yeah, but where's the dog?
Yeah, where's the dog?
He's over by the door. I ain't getting up.
He left the dog.
Dropped him off.
You know what? Kendrick's dropped the dog off somewhere. He's going to start laughing in a few minutes now. He didn't. He's got his dog. He loves that dog. No matter if he wants to get rid of, oh, look at the dog. How cute.
I know, I get so distracted when people bring their pets in.
Yeah, it should be a pet day, shouldn't it? Love that in the kitchen. Wouldn't that be good? Anybody have anything to say today? Oh, there, it's in the cage. Oh, you left it in the cage?
locked up.
Gosh, there, look. That's a cutie patootie. What kind is it, James?
It's a Boston Terrier.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we always have to have a good friend that doesn't talk back. That's the key word in having a dog, that don't talk back. True? Well, anyway, Chef Cliff, do you have anything to say?
No, it was a great
my
day.
Gosh, look at Callie's dog. Big one.
This is my little dog.
The little.
She got two big dogs.
I got big doggos.
And look at this one washing her pans so she can make me some grits.
Sugar wants to say hi.
They already clean, Chef.
Yeah, clean as you go. Remember, you gotta clean as you go.
Yes,
Because you
ma'am.
find out the space you have is only this big.
Yes. Yes.
People don't get that till they get work in the kitchen. Look at that beautiful dogs. They get to work in the kitchen because they used to working in a big space, and then they go in the kitchen and it's this small, and it's hard. So you got to make sure you learn as you clean as you go when you work at school. So when you get there, Chef Cliff, what are you gonna say?
I'm good, man. It was a great day today, and that's
It's Monday.
yeah, it's Monday. Enjoy it.
And
Just getting started.
grits. She's got grits on the plate. What more do we want?
Just getting started, Chef.
Oh, you just started? Oh my God, you got a way to go. All right, guys, thank
She
you.
wants
for
you
a
to
great
let her go so
day.
she can.
What did you say? What did you say,
I said she
Matthew?
wants you to let her go so she can eat them.
Are you being nasty or tacky?
Grits.
You're being mean?
Shrimp and grits.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you again for a great, great day. Let's see if we can get this 22 back again tomorrow and get stuff going, motivated again. I love being it. I know Chef Cliff loves being with you all too. and to understand what we are all doing and what we are here for is to make you understand about running a restaurant. It's you understanding and getting motivated to do what you want to do in your life. And that's what you chose Escoffier for. So thank you again. See you tomorrow. Thank you. Have a great day. Be safe, okay, guys? Don't go in a restaurant.
Bye, guys.
Order from a restaurant if you have to. Thank you.
James is spoiling his dog.
Oh, I
I
know.
know he is.
I know. I know. Look at that. Good to see you all. Thank you for a great day. Thanks for a great
Bye,
night.
James.
There's the other one.
Spoiled.
What kind of dog is that? What's the other one?
He's hard to see. He's a black Labradoodle.
Oh, Labradoodle?
he
Oh,
just a
nice.
baby.
Yeah,
You got two?
yeah, two of them.
Look at that.
What are their names?
So Bruce and Georgia.
Bruce is the one in your arm?
George is the Boston Terrier.
Oh,
Bruce is the
this
black.
Boston Terrier's like was loving
Oh,
life.
look
You
at
rubbing on
that
her
one. Anthony, that's a beauty.
Oh,
Oh, he just a baby.
Wow. Oh my gosh, you spoil that dog. Oh my gosh, two.
They sleep. Leave them alone.
Oh my
Those are my
gosh.
babies.
They sleep.
They are asleep. They took over my bed.
what kind of dogs were those?
It's a lab and then a Frenchton. It's a half Frenchie, half Boston.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then we have two other Bostons. We have 4 dogs altogether, but the other 2 are in there asleep.
Oh, wow.
Sleepy babies.
Sleepy babies.
I thought George was asleep. They were comfortable. I think somebody has got better beds than anybody else does.
Yeah.
Hey, I would show you my dogs, but I'm not home right now.
Oh, what kind of dog you have?
Try again next time.
I only have one dog. It's a pit bull mix. I don't know what he's
Oh,
mixed
yeah?
with, but yeah, he's really
Oh,
biting.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, he's really biting. He scratches a lot,
I'm
bites a
showing my
lot.
poo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, it's great to see you all.
You know what? Maybe we should have a pet day one day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
we should.
Everybody
Bring a pet. Yeah.
show a pet. Yeah.
Show up and show out.
We'll try to do that.
Dress them up.
Dress them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bro.
Bye.
Thank you, Chef.
Bye, guys.
Later.
Y'all have a great
Bye.
day.
You too,
Thank
Chef.
you.
Happy Monday.
You too.
Happy
Bye.
Monday.
Thank you, Jose, for talking. I
You're
love it.
welcome, Chef.
I mean it. Look at that smile on your face, just changing your life. Do you hear me?
Yes, I heard. All right, well, have a
Okay.
nice day.
Hey, you
Bye,
too.
Matthew.
Bye-bye.
Be safe, guy. I'm glad you got home. Thank you.
Hey, Matthew, I'm going to disconnect you if you're...
He's in a cabin.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. His grandfather's cabin.
Oh, no, that's nice. Hold on. All right, I removed him, but he's still showing up right now. I don't know why.
I think he's frozen.
Yeah, I think so too.